Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the Federal Protective Service, government facilities, and the right to film on federal property, and is brought to us by IAM Free Inland Auditing's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On November 13th, 2013, the owner of the IAM Free Inland Auditing Media channel, who we will refer to as Mr. Free, traveled to the Northwest Mountain Regional Office for the Federal Aviation Administration in Des Moines, Washington, to perform an audit after receiving a tip from an individual who claimed to experience rude and combative federal employees when trying to file a Freedom of Information Act request. Mr. Free filmed the encounters that resulted from his audit.
Can I help you, sir?
No.
You're on federal property.
Okay.
What are you taking pictures of?
Are you
Anybody done, sir?
Yeah, I'm making contact right now. Excuse me?
Why are you worried about that?
Because I do security. This is all federal property. You can't be on federal property unless you have an appointment.
How confident of that are you?
I'm pretty confident of that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Willing to make you a bet on that.
Why are you on federal property?
Why would I explain that to you?
Because you're not supposed to be on federal property unless you have a reason to be on federal property.
Really?
Or you have a proper identification.
Oh. So are you asking for my identification?
Yes, sir. Do you have any identification?
I don't.
That's fine.
My name's Gandalf.
That's fine. Can I walk you off federal property? I'm not trying to be rude.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm going to politely decline that request.
I have to ask you to leave, otherwise
I totally understand you have to ask me. I'm sure that's probably in your policy manual or something.
It is.
I'm going to deny the request politely. If you want to, call maybe FPS.
Oh, you know that.
Probably want to give them a jingle.
Call FPS.
All right, great.
The security officer asks Mr. Free to leave the property, and he declines, and the officer calls for FPS. FPS, which is short for the Federal Protective Service, is a federal law enforcement agency of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that provides security and law enforcement services for federally owned and leased facilities. The Federal Protective Service serves the continental United States across 11 regions and is responsible for protecting over 9,000 federal facilities. FPS also contracts with private security firms to provide federal buildings with armed so-called protective security officers, or PSOs, also known as Armed Contract Security Officers, or ACSOs, who are not federal law enforcement officers, but private security contractors trained by FPS. According to a DHS best practice publication regarding standards for armed contract security officers in federal facilities, the basic functions of ACSOs include access control, screening, visitor processing, patrol and response, and control center operations. The publication also lists specific tasks that PSOs may perform, such as verbally challenging individuals who are approaching restricted areas, directing individuals who cause a disturbance to leave the property, reporting potentially threatening situations and violations of law, security policy, and procedures, and physically controlling individuals displaying disruptive or violent behavior, including applying handcuffs. The best practice document also indicates that, now quoting, ACSOs may or may not have arrest authority based on their contract and or assignment, and that, now quoting again, ACSOs may use force to repel an attack on their life and or the safety and lives of another person. Now, in this situation, it is a safe assumption that the security officer that Mr. Free encountered is a contractor, and therefore likely did not have the necessary authority to physically remove Mr. Free from the property.
Well, it will be hard to miss me. I am in a cleverly disguised orange and black mixed colored jacket.
You do blend in very well today, sir.
If you guys want to go be warm inside, I'll just be moseying around. I won't be very hard to find, like I said. Appreciate the company for a few minutes.
Well, we'll keep an eye on you.
All right. I'm going to make a quick bet with you guys, though, that even if they do by some chance show up, that they'll leave before I do.
Oh, they will be here.
Yeah,
They're en route.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a quick bet, though. They're going to leave before I do. Any takers?
I'm not a betting man.
Not a betting man?
Oh, yeah. No.
Pardon me.
Yes, sir.
Already?
Did you guys want to come in? I got to do some work inside, so. Oh, hey, that was fast. That was fast. Is there a PRO on site, by the way? Is there a PRO on site?
You'll find out, sir.
Okay. Well. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you,
What
man?
are you doing up here all the way
I
from
knew
Portland?
it was going to be you. How are you, man?
Good. How about you, 1523?
Pretty good.
Or do you just prefer Michael?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Michael's fine. Brings you all the way up here.
Actually, I am in the area getting ready to do some business at the FAA.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah.
How about you? What brings you up here? Did you
Well,
just literally
So the thing
haul
is,
up from Portland?
No. You caught me at a time last time when I was in Portland. I was just down there for a detail for a short time. So this is actually where I'm stationed.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like I said, like I told you before, I'm not going to stop you from
Well, I know there's. I mean,
so.
honestly, I know there. I'm not going to get any problem with you, Michael. So I'm with Inland Auditing Media.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah. No, that's great. How's 1414 doing?
He's good.
Did I catch him on a bad day?
No, I think you were his first minute auditor, and I was letting him take it at first.
Hey,
but
nothing wrong with that.
He's good. You know what? I think it helped. I think things like this help police just to be involved in something like this and get to know exactly what we're supposed to do and stuff like that. So
That's one of the beautiful things. You can agree to disagree. You can have a polite, debate if you want, and it doesn't have to be ugly or anything. So
Nope.
What's the name of your
All
channel
right.
again?
Inland Auditing Media.
Well, like I said, you got business here. Well, I mean, you can.
I do. Yeah. Hey, really great to see you again,
Yep, nice
Michael.
to see you.
Carlos.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to meet
Yeah,
you.
be safe.
All right. You guys too. So I need to see if I can get a PRO, or I can go through. It's fine, but I just need to get a FOIA document if I could.
That's fine. Yeah, we just need to see if we can get him what he needs. Yeah.
Just go on the FAA website. You're not coming in.
Why not?
Just go on the FAA website
How come I'm not coming in?
because you're. Who are you here to see?
I'm here to do a Freedom of Information Act request.
Who are you here to see them?
Whoever the PRO is.
Public relations
Well,
officer.
see, here's the problem. They're here only here for appointments. So did you see our parking lot? How full it was?
Far.
So your people.
Far. I'm gonna be real
No,
clear about this,
he-
too, Far.
He can come to the federal building and conduct business.
There's no one here to see him.
That's
It's
fine.
appointment only.
So all we have to do is let him know that, right? Give him a number, give him a contact, something like that. But there's nothing out here that says that this building's closed to appointments only.
I understand.
So the building's not closed, so he can come into the federal facility.
There's no one here to see him.
So is there a public relations office here? Okay.
Yes,
So-
but no.
but they're not here?
Correct.
Hey, Far.
They're only here when they.
I'll change it up.
We need to get the information. Who's the name of the PIO?
Who's the
in our
PO?
emails?
Yeah. So
That's
we
the way
need to
it's
get him
going.
the information.
Well, there's Bill Meyer. I'm the security guy.
I need to get the PIO's information. Name and contact information.
And also, Far, I am gonna come inside.
Good for you.
So let's get that process going, okay? Why not? Are you denying me access to the building?
Who are you here to see?
I'm not gonna tell you that. Are you denying me access to the building?
So, see, it's appointment only. It's escort only.
Far, I'm gonna make this real clear to you. Are you gonna deny me access or not?
All right, what are you? Are you my dad?
Are you denying me access or not?
I'm
You're
not-
the security
I'm not saying
person.
anything.
You need to figure it out, Far. Are you gonna process me or
So,
not?
let me get this straight. You're telling me what I need to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good for you.
So are you gonna prevent me from going in or not?
He needs to be processed in.
Perfect. Welcome to the FAA.
Officer Michael informs Security Officer Farr that Mr. Free must be granted access to the building. The Federal Aviation Administration Northwest Mountain Regional Office is one of 9 National Engagement and Regional Administration offices for the Federal Aviation Administration, providing service to the states of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. The office also accommodates the Northwest Mountain Region FOIA Service Center Coordinator, although it should be noted that the FAA website includes a link for citizens to submit Freedom of Information Act requests online without visiting the facility. Now, while the FAA website does not specify whether the building is open to the public, Section 102-74.375 of Title 41 of the Code of Federal Regulations states that, quote, federal agencies must close property to the public during working hours only when situations require this action to provide for the orderly conduct of government business. The designated official under the Occupant Emergency Program may make such decision only after consultation consultation with the building's manager and the highest-ranking representative of the law enforcement organization responsible for protection of the property or the area. Accordingly, while it is certainly permissible for federal agencies to close property to the public, there is a specific process that must be followed in order for them to do so. And given Officer Michael's assertion that the property is not closed, it seems probable that the FAA building is at least partially open to the public, which means that Mr. Free was likely well within his rights to enter the publicly accessible areas of the building.
Do you have a photo ID?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I'm not going to show you ID.
Do you have any weapons or explosives?
No.
If this person is going to be able to give you the information you need, one of the executive managers here,
Oh, okay.
I've dealt with her. She's very nice, so she'll
Great.
be able to point you in the right direction for FAA, who the PAO is,
That's
and
awesome.
how to do a FOIA request.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sign it for me.
Yeah, you bet.
If you have something, write her information down. I'll give it to you.
Same applies for any federal facilities, public spaces. I'm not gonna
This
argue.
is the executive manager here for FAA. She'll be able to give you the information on how to get a FOIA request for FAA.
I really appreciate that, Michael.
No problem. Again, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Where are you going?
Oh, over there?
No, you're not.
Why?
This is a lobby.
Yeah, he can go over there.
No, we can't.
It's not unrestricted area. Will.
It is. It is a restricted area.
It's not restricted.
What says that it's restricted for?
Show me a restricted sign. Show me an employees only sign.
Everywhere you go, you have to be escorted. Every visitor has to be escorted in this building.
In restricted space.
No, in all spaces.
Restricted spaces.
I'm telling you. I'll have the president of Boeing here. He can't even go back there.
Hey, Far, watch me. I'm going to walk over
You
there,
can go over there. It's
and you're not going to do
unrestricted
anything
space.
about it.
Yeah,
Okay?
because you have these guys right here stopping.
Whoa, Far. Think about what you're saying, dude.
You can't-
They're federal law enforcement officers that actually know what they're talking about. You need to stay in your lane.
You really do, Far.
You got
Not
it?
point at me.
I will point at you. What are you going to do about it?
He can point all he wants, Far.
Security Officer Farr tries to prevent Mr. Free from walking around the lobby and pointing his finger at him. And Officer Michael informs Officer Farr that Mr. Free may walk around and I'm quoting, point all he wants. As we have discussed before here on ATA, the First Amendment protects the right to film in public, as well as communicative gestures, such as pointing a finger. I have linked several previous episodes that discuss these issues in the description down below if you're interested in learning more about these topics. Now, although the FAA building is likely not a so-called public forum, in which, as the Supreme Court noted in the 1983 case of Perry Education Association versus Perry Local Educators Association, quote, the rights of the state to limit expressive activity are sharply circumscribed. Section 102-74.420 of the Code of Federal Regulations states that, quote, except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply, or a federal court order or rule prohibits it, persons entering in or on federal property may take photographs of the building entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums for news purposes. Applying this regulation, an operational readiness order issued by Federal Protective Service on March 30th, 2018 clarified that, quote, the public is allowed to photograph interior building entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, and auditoriums from publicly accessible areas. For example, someone can photograph in the common space and publicly accessible lobby of a federal facility. However, it should be noted that the order also states that, quote, this right, however, does not authorize a photographer to intrude on restricted space surrounding a security post, create loud or unusual noises or cause a nuisance, obstruct the usual use of entrances, lobbies, and other commonly accessible space, impede or disrupt the performance of official duties by government employees or federal contractors, including the PSOs, nor prevent the public from obtaining government services provided in the facility in a timely manner. As such, it is likely that a court would conclude that Mr. Free was well within his rights to walk around and film the publicly accessible areas of the FAA building, including the lobby, as long as he did not interfere with the orderly exercise of business.
You gotta cut it out at this point, man. I'm telling you, right now, on a contract standpoint, you gotta stop. Go to the loading dock, whatever you need to do. You need to go on a patrol, but you can't be here, okay?
All right.
Go.
I'll walk with you.
Hey, guys, thank you for standing up for my liberty. Seriously, I really
Have a
mean
good
it.
one, man.
Thanks. My primary reason for being here today is I had heard, and it appears to be the case, I received a tip and a lead that somebody came here to, in fact, seek assistance with a FOIA regarding the FAA, and they were turned away and treated poorly. I'm guessing based on Farr's response, it's probably who it was. I didn't get a name or anything.
I can't speak to that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you can't. I mean,
I'm gonna take this real quick.
You bet.
I'll leave you with these guys.
Be safe, guys. Have a good day. Wow. Whoa. That was insane.
After he completed his audit, Mr. Free left the FAA building and shared the interaction on his YouTube channel a few days later. Mr. Free did not indicate whether he filed a complaint or intended to pursue any legal action, but he did suggest that the viewers contact FPS to give their opinions on Officer Michael and Officer Carlos. Overall, Security Officer Farr gets an F for maintaining a hostile and authoritarian demeanor throughout the encounter, attempting to interfere with Mr. Free's First Amendment rights, and demonstrating contempt for Officer Michael and Officer Carlos's authority as FPS officers. Now, giving Security Officer Farr the benefit of the doubt, it is entirely possible that he was following the instructions of a supervisor in attempting to deny Mr. Free entry to the building, and not simply attempting to restrict Mr. Free's right to film on his own initiative. But even if that were the case, there is no excuse for his unprofessional and aggressive attitude in his interactions with Mr. Free as well as the FPS officers. Additionally, Security Officer Farr's quote-unquote order that Mr. Free refrain from pointing at him was clearly an overstep of his authority, as the Supreme Court has held that expressive conduct is just as entitled to First Amendment protection as quote-unquote pure speech, and it was seemingly motivated by his personal feelings about Mr. Free's pointing rather than a legitimate exercise of his job duties. This encounter demonstrates the importance of a public servant's treatment of the public, whether they are police officers or private contractors. Officer Michael and Officer Carlos get an A+ for demonstrating a friendly and professional demeanor throughout the encounter, strongly advocating for Mr. Free's right to film, and ensuring that Security Officer Farr complied with his obligations as a public servant. Now, although the First Amendment alone may not necessarily prohibit government agencies from restricting photography inside buildings that are not quote-unquote public forums that have traditionally been used for debate and the communication of ideas, federal regulations and the Department of Homeland Security have made it clear that members of the public are permitted to film in public lobbies of federal buildings. As such, Officer Michael and Officer Carlos did an excellent job of respectfully but firmly correcting Security Officer Farr and making sure that Mr. Free was allowed to exercise his rights to enter the building and film in publicly accessible areas. Mr. Free also gets an A+ for asserting his rights in a respectful manner, engaging in friendly and productive conversation with both the security officers and the FPS officers, and giving credit to Officer Michael and Officer Carlos for their exceptional performance in this situation. I commend Mr. Free for conducting a professional and impartial audit where he simply attempted to exercise his rights and did not try to provoke, antagonize, or bait the security officers into an inappropriate response. While some auditors only seem interested in capturing negative interactions with law enforcement officers, Mr. Free seemed pleased that he had such a positive experience with Officer Michael and Officer Carlos, and was entirely willing to hand out praise to the FPS officers while simultaneously critiquing Security Officer Farr. This type of unbiased auditing works to encourage both accountability and transparency in law enforcement, and I would encourage other auditors to learn from this example. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.